lower belly fat. It's the bane of existence for almost everyone. Whether you're a casual gym goer striving for better fitness, or a dedicated professional bodybuilder aiming for peak condition, that last stubborn bit of fat clinging to your lower midsection is notoriously tough to conquer. And you probably already know this. You also understand the core principles. You need to be in a calorie deficit. You need to ditch processed, refined, and high-sugar foods, and you need to consistently exercise to build those underlying lower abs. But here's the unsettling truth. There are critical, often overlooked concepts about lower belly fat that are setting you up for unrealistic expectations and preventing you from achieving that coveted flat midsection. These aren't just minor details. They are fundamental aspects of your biology that influence your perception and your progress. So today I want to expose the top 7 things that nobody is telling you about lower belly fat. Prepare to have your understanding of your body and your fat loss journey fundamentally shifted. 1. The myth of 0 rolls and 0 folds. First, we have to obliterate an unrealistic expectation. The idea of seeing 0 rolls and 0 folds when you sit down. Most people mistakenly believe that a perfectly chiseled six-pack should look flawless and unmoving, regardless of your body position, how much you've eaten, or how relaxed your abdominal muscles are. After over 15 years of modeling, competitive bodybuilding, and rigorously maintaining a low body fat percentage, I can tell you unequivocally, this is absolutely untrue. Human anatomy is designed for flexibility and function, not perpetual rigidity. Your skin and the underlying tissues must be able to stretch and fold to allow for natural movement and changes in your body position. When you sit down, your abdominal muscles naturally relax, and your skin instinctively forms creases. This is a completely normal, healthy physiological response. Even professional bodybuilders and elite fitness models present incredibly impressive six-packs on stage or in professional photo shoots, do not maintain that look at all times. In fact, paradoxically, sometimes as you get leaner and have less fat mass occupying the space beneath the skin around your lower stomach, you can actually develop more visible folds and creases in that area. This effect is even more pronounced if you've lost a significant amount of body fat, as you might have some residual excess skin around your lower abs. Remember, even the top fitness models aren't perpetually perfect. Their stomachs will bulge slightly after a large meal. When they sit down, almost all of them will exhibit some natural folds, creases, and rolls. And when they simply relax their abs, their midsection doesn't look as defined as you see in those perfectly posed, highly edited images. Bodybuilders and models meticulously select specific poses, strategically leverage lighting, and sometimes even employ temporary dehydration techniques to achieve that flawless, temporary appearance. In their everyday lives, their abs are subject to the same natural folds and fluctuations as anyone else's. Next, you likely don't realize that a key, frustrating reason why lower belly fat is so incredibly tough to eliminate is due to the presence of specialized structures known as alpha and beta receptors within your fat cells. These receptors play a crucial, yet often overlooked, role in how fat is stored and mobilized throughout different regions of your body. Alpha and beta receptors are specific types of proteins found on the surface of your fat cells. They respond to catecholamines, which are hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline, your body's fight or flight messengers. These hormones signal your body to either store or release fat. Here's the critical distinction. Beta receptors are like your fat-burning accelerators. When catecholamines bind to beta receptors, they trigger a cascade of reactions that result in the rapid release of fatty acids from fat cells into your bloodstream, where they can then be efficiently burned for energy. Beta receptors are more prevalent in areas where fat is more easily mobilized, such as your arms, legs, and face. Alpha receptors, on the other hand, act like fat-burning brakes. When catecholamines bind to alpha receptors, they actively inhibit fat breakdown, effectively signaling the fat cell to hold on to its fat stores. This makes areas with higher concentrations of alpha receptors significantly more resistant to fat loss. Unfortunately, the fat cells in your lower belly tend to have a higher ratio of alpha receptors compared to beta receptors. This means that even when your body is in a prime state of overall fat mobilization, for example, when you eat consistently in a calorie deficit, the alpha receptors in your lower belly can still stubbornly interfere with the breakdown and release of fat. making it incredibly challenging to shed from this specific area. This is a biological reality that is largely outside of your direct control. 3. The sneaky influence of metabolic adaptation now. Let's turn to one of the most significant factors that is within your control, yet often goes unaddressed, potentially derailing your progress. The profound influence of metabolic adaptation, also known as adaptive thermogenesis. This is a highly intelligent, albeit frustrating process where your body subtly adjusts its energy expenditure in response to changes in your diet and activity levels. Even if you are meticulously adhering to your diet plan and consistently maintaining a calorie deficit, your metabolism will, over time, naturally slow down. This isn't a flaw. It's a protective evolutionary mechanism designed to conserve energy and prevent what your body perceives as starvation. This metabolic slowdown can make it progressively harder to continue losing fat as you diet for an extended period. The crucial issue with lower belly fat is that it's often one of the very last fat reserves your body chooses to tap into. Therefore, metabolic adaptation will inevitably play a significant role in making it even more stubborn. I can almost guarantee you that the calorie deficit you successfully initiated your fat loss journey with will not be the same. Calorie deficit required to burn off that absolute last bit of stubborn lower belly fat. As your body mass diminishes, it naturally requires less energy to maintain itself. So, you must continuously readjust your calorie and macronutrient requirements as you progress through your fat loss journey. When you hit those frustrating plateaus, where you stop losing fat for 2 weeks or longer, it's a clear signal to adjust. Try dropping your daily calorie intake by anywhere from 200 to 300 calories, then reevaluate your progress again after 1 to 2 weeks. As you face these plateaus, another highly effective strategy is to simply add more low-intensity activities to your daily routine, such as walking. This burns additional calories without significantly increasing your metabolic stress, helping you push through and continue burning fat. For reduced blood flow and larger fat cells, another frustrating truth about lower belly fat is that this specific area typically receives less blood flow and tends to house larger, denser fat cells compared to many other regions of your body. Both of these factors contribute significantly to its stubborn nature. Adequate blood flow is absolutely critical for efficient fat loss. It ensures that your fat-mobilizing hormones, like those catecholamines we discussed, can effectively reach and stimulate your fat cells to release their stored fat. Once released, this mobilized fat then needs to be transported via the bloodstream to areas like your liver, where it can be processed and utilized for energy. Since your lower belly area often has comparatively lower blood flow, it means that fewer fat-mobilizing hormones can reach these fat cells, inherently reducing the effectiveness of fat mobilization in that region. Compounding this problem even further is the sheer size of those lower belly fat cells. Fat cells in different parts of the body can indeed vary in size and type. Some areas have smaller, more easily mobilized fat cells, which are quicker to shrink. Unfortunately, the lower belly often has a higher proportion of these large, dense fat cells. These are simply more resistant to breakdown and require a more prolonged and consistent calorie deficit to yield results. 5. Genetic blueprints, fat storage, and muscle anatomy. Let us talk about the undeniable influence of your genetics on 2 key aspects: your fat storage patterns and your lower abdominal muscle anatomy. These are elements you simply cannot control, and understanding them is crucial for setting realistic expectations. Your fat storage patterns refer to how and where your body preferentially tends to store fat, and these patterns are significantly influenced by your genetic predispositions. Your genes determine the unique distribution of fat across different areas of your body, whether it's your midsection, thighs, hips, arms, or face. For example, your genetics might predispose you to store a higher percentage of your total body fat in your abdominal region, which of course includes that stubborn lower belly fat. While women typically tend to store more body fat around their hips and lower body, men often struggle more with fat accumulation around their center of mass, including their love handles and lower belly, leading to a more apple-shaped fat distribution. This is a highly individual trait dictated by your DNA and is entirely outside of your conscious control. Right alongside these genetic fat distribution patterns is your unique muscular anatomy. Even after successfully burning away a significant amount of lower belly fat, Some individuals may still not achieve those perfectly defined V-cut abs or the symmetrical six-pack aesthetic. This is because the precise shape, size, and insertion points of your oblique and rectus abdominis muscles are profoundly influenced by your genetics. This explains why two people maintaining the exact same low body fat percentage can have completely different looking sets of abdominal muscles. So, it's vital to compare your weekly, monthly, and yearly progress to yourself. Rather than to the genetically predetermined physique of others, focus on your personal journey. 6. The deceptive world of targeted supplements next. Let's talk about supplements, because many of you may not be aware of the outright false and misleading claims that some supplement companies brazenly make when trying to sell their fat burners. You'll see products with names that are literally called stored fat belly burner or belly fat burner for men. Others will make aggressive claims like destroy stubborn belly fat, lose stomach fat, or simply stomach fat burner. These fat burners typically fall into certain general categories. Thermogenics. These claim to act as stimulants, aiming to increase your metabolic rate and burn more calories throughout the day. Fat blockers. These purport to work by blocking the absorption of dietary fat from the food you eat. Appetite suppressants. These aim to reduce your hunger, theoretically leading to a lower caloric intake. Carb blockers. These attempt to prevent the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates. Here's the undeniable truth. None of these supplements will specifically target your belly fat. First and foremost, as I just explained, your genetic fat storage and fat burning patterns are outside of your control. Beyond that, the concept of spot reduction is a myth. Fat loss simply does not occur in specific, targeted areas. Instead, fat loss happens uniformly across your entire body based on your overall caloric deficit and the genetic variables we discussed earlier. Even if a fat burner does manage to slightly speed up your metabolism or marginally reduce your appetite, and even if that could contribute to overall fat loss, there is no supplement on the market that will make you lose fat specifically from your stubborn belly fat. Don't fall for the deceptive marketing. 7. The posture paradox. Your standing illusion finally, last but not least. Something that most people don't realize is that your posture, even when simply standing upright, can dramatically affect the perceived appearance of your lower belly fat. This isn't about fat burning, but about visual perception. For example, if you have shoulder protraction, or in other words, if you habitually slouch a lot when standing, it can visually compress your midsection, making your lower belly appear far more pronounced and bulging than it actually is. It's an optical illusion created by poor alignment. Another common postural deviation that can make your lower belly fat look worse than it actually is an anterior pelvic tilt. This occurs when your pelvis is tilted forward, often a result of prolonged sitting and the development of weak glute muscles, combined with tight hip flexors. Not only can an anterior pelvic tilt lead to repetitive lower back injuries and discomfort, but it will also cause your lower belly to visibly stick out, creating an unflattering protrusion. The good news? This is fixable. By strengthening your hips and your upper back, by consciously sitting less, and by consistently practicing better posture, you'll naturally lengthen and stretch your midsection out, making it appear significantly flatter. While this obviously does nothing in terms of actual fat burning, most people do, and realize that bad posture can make your belly fat look substantially worse than its true size. Correcting it can be a quick win for your aesthetic and your spinal health. So, that about wraps it up. I truly hope this video has illuminated some crucial, often hidden truths about lower belly fat that you never knew existed. If it has helped you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more science-backed insights. And if you're looking to shortcut all the frustrating trial and error that typically comes with finding the right diet plan and the right workout plan, and instead you like a done-for-you program that will help you effectively drop a bunch of body fat, try my free 6-week shred. We'll personalize a meal plan for you based on your preferences. And you'll also receive a full 42-day workout plan and a dedicated coach to guide you through the entire process. To find out more about this free body transformation program, just click the link in the description below or head straight over to my website at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.